Dante's discussion.
Welcome back to another edition of Dante's discussion. That's right, but this time it is the answers portion. The answers portion you have been waiting for. Yes, that's right. I post on FextraLife and, of course, my other Dante's discussion question portion of the video. What should, if any, the level cap for PvP be? I definitely got some interesting answers. Definitely some very polarizing answers and some great answers to boot. And let's just shuffle along. Let's just start it. This is quite a large topic. A lot of people with strong opinions, obviously. The thing about this, maybe there will even be a part two and answers to the answers. I don't know. Depending on how this goes, we'll see. But this is quite a large topic with a lot of opinions and a lot of strong opinions. As you see here, I asked the question, what should, if any, the level cap be for PvP? I'm assuming this has been answered before. You know, as I said, certain popular streamers sort of tried to dictate where the level cap should be. And, you know, obviously there's a lot. I personally have a lot of problems with that. Someone trying to tell me how to play, it's a little ridiculous. But obviously, they're all opinions. What they like and what I like, opinion. You know, what we prefer is whatever we prefer. But let's just start it off anyway. Let's see what FextraLife has to offer, or I guess YouTubers first. Guild Assassin says, "How old is your information?" He's talking about the original video. The push for SL Soul Level 150 meta is a thing around launch. Oro is using a Soul Level 200 build these days, and even the Game Facts ladder is using Soul Level 200. Soul Level 150 is too restrictive to create builds, and Soul Level 250 is where builds generally don't have to make many sacrifices to cover most of the bases. Soul Level 200 is fairly good spot. Obviously, you know, like I'm gonna continue to say this, you know, through this whole entire video, but opinions. These are all opinions. Opinions generally, unless completely proven wrong, cannot be wrong. Alright, so that said, he says 200 is a fairly good spot. And as you'll see in some of these responses, I will reply a little bit more. This one is more to the fact that the forum I looked at, the latest post was like a few weeks ago. I thought it was up to date, and regardless, it doesn't matter if it's 150, 9 million. The question still remains, you know, what is the soul level, or should be the soul level, if anything. So let's go on to FextraLife here. We go to NPC Invader. We got the Agape Ring, and at the same time, we still have to deal with soul memory. The soul level cap should be balanced, should for balance reasons be proportional to soul memory tier. The question should be, what's the soul memory tier that we should cap ourselves, and not the soul level, since soul level doesn't matter for matchmaking except in the arena. I don't even think it matters for the arena, but I could be wrong. And not everyone will reach the same soul memory tier with the same soul level. Some people are better min-maxing their soul memory than others. Speaking entirely from my experience, capping the soul memories of a lot of builds below the 3 million soul memory tier, you are alright. I played in the 2.7 million tier. What soul level is that? I was 175. The rest can have more soul level at the soul memory tier, or less soul level. A lot of soul memory. It depends on the player and entirely on his or her skills to min-max his or her soul memory before equipping the Agape Ring. Without a complete soul level matchmaking, the soul memory tier will dictate the average level cap. Unless you only care for the arena, then you can forget about Iron Keep, invasions, everything, and just go with soul level 150, plus or minus 5. He brings upon a point that is probably almost even larger than this question itself. Is I think in Miyazaki, because he's helming Dark Souls 3, he said that, I believe he said this, or the developers said that they aren't bringing soul memory back, which is fantastic. Soul memory really screwed things up, because you can literally have soul memory of, you know, 999 million and only be level 1, right? I mean, it's, you know, improbable, but it's possible. So then you're level 1 going against, you know, max level people or whoever. Like, that's obviously, that's not how it should work. It should work on your level, because again, he brings upon the point of, you know, you sort of have to create builds for certain types. Because let's say, oh, I want this armor. Well, I can't have too many armors, because if I start upgrading too many things, guess what? My soul memory is going way up, but my level's the same. You know, it's the problem really is soul memory, I think, in this aspect. At least for what he's saying. We're going to sort of try to get away from the soul memory aspect of it, even though that usually does dictate who you go against. I will admit, I think soul memory is pretty dumb way to matchmake, especially matchmaking. I think most people can agree. I think when they were building the game, they're like, "Oh, this is a great way to do it," and then it just, I don't know, it didn't work out. Maybe they didn't foresee something or thought something else would happen. I don't know. And that's why they gave the escape ring so late. What is it, a year after the game came out? I mean, it's almost unacceptable, but you know, we still love the damn game. Next person says, WTF, dude. Soul memory makes it extremely hard to impose some meta level. Again, this is, you know, imposing on the same thing. If, like, you have to stay in the same soul memory in order to compete, but if you slightly go out of it, then you're gonna be matched with people who might be way over or even under level than you, just depending on how you play the game. Like, you really have to play the game tons of times and do very well, never lose a soul, and just put it in your character and armors and weapons, and just use like one set. That's it. And that's a little, I mean, at least for me, that really hinders the game. Havoc KB says, ugh, so much to learn about soul memory and PvP. 50% of that is over my head. I sort of agree with you. I mean, obviously, especially if you're starting out or if you just don't care, it's a little harder to follow. But yeah, soul memory is just how many souls you gain throughout the entire game. You know, killing whoever or eating souls or whatever you have. And soul level is your level that you've leveled up your character. Next person says, Exuidus the Great, he says, make a build, equip a gape ring, done. You'll find activity 150 to 250. Have fun. That seems to be the thing, you know, it's getting harder and harder to find people at a higher level. And I'm assuming it's a lot easier at lower level, as some people may have seen or said. Let's go with Wilson Rain 114 says, I started my PvP career in Dark Souls 2 at soul level 250 and got destroyed. You just need to play more or min-max better. I don't know. I've tried the so-called meta at 150. A gape ring is good, but I hate giving up a ring slot. I agree. Giving up a ring slot does suck, especially if you're someone like me who uses almost religiously the stone ring. So giving up a ring slot does suck sometimes. And it was better, but I still got smacked about like a chicken at KFC. And then I went to soul level 150. To be honest, it bored me senseless. The arena and fight clubs are too controlled and predictable. I wish I knew a little bit more of what he means exactly by that. I mean, there's got to be some control into it. You can't have chaos constantly, right? Unless, of course, you're a power mancy, then you got chaos all over the place. I kid, that's a Dark Souls joke. I'm dumb. Alright, anyways, now invade rather than do set soul level duels, be it arena or fight clubs, and I find it more fun and chaotic. Well, that's exactly what he wants. He wants chaos, and hey, if that's the way you want to play, that's awesome. I actually really like that. I like that he loves invading. I love people who love invading. I really love that. I don't like when people who invade, they bow to you. You know, they do all this stuff that makes you think, okay, this is just going to be a one-on-one fight. Then they run away and heal. Like, come on. You know, you think it's one thing and then... But I guess at the same time, they are invading, so they're supposed to be sneaky and stuff. Let's go to the next person, Anunnakis. At 150, you find instant matches all day around in the Brotherhood of Blood arena, which is priceless considering that on PS4, the loading times are now so short you can just chain matches and actually have PvP. That's awesome. It makes me want to have a damn PS4 and get Scholar of the First Sin. Just instant matches, just boom, boom, boom. You know, a lot of times I don't have time. And also, I am like a child with, for some reason with this, in real life, my patience is amazing. In this game, I have like no patience. It's crazy. If somebody backs up too much and just won't ever fight, I just like, I don't know, in my head, I just get dumb and then I lose. And he goes on to say, below 150 in the arena or not upgraded gear etc is no fun because the Brotherhood of Blood arena has a lot of good players and you will be matched up against them in higher level considering nobody seems to stick under 150 in the arena. Well, I mean, if you're going against better players, I mean, they're just better players. The level doesn't matter at that point. Obviously, damage output in certain situations are uncontrollable, but if you see somebody buffing a Chaos Blade, you know what's going to happen. You're going to lose a trade. That's almost always how that works. He then goes on to say, it is true that Havel Dark Mage casters are often the worst players and therefore manageable at lower level. That being said, variety in builds inevitably tend to decrease as soul level increase because of the soft caps. Once you got what you need in important stats, that is past soul level 100 through 150, then you may as well branch out rather than just go way past soft caps. So you tend to suddenly pump some points in vitality to wear heavier armor, get some points in attunement for those freaking buff or weapon buffs I just like so much, etc. So you end up at soul level 200 with people buffing their even ever bigger weapons, wearing even ever bigger armors, using great magic barrier, numbness, etc. Players' skills, sorry, I can't speak. Players' skills do not change, but at higher levels, bad players have more chances to win by soaking more damage and inflicting more. That's all. You know, there's a lot of parts. In fact, there's so many parts to what he said here that parts I agree. I mean, obviously, if there's a bad player and he's Havel maging it up, but he's higher level than you, I mean, logically and obviously they are going to be able to take more damage. That's just how the game works. I mean, if you're higher level, usually you can take more damage. That's usually how that works. You know, but there's so much variety in the game, high and low level. I don't know. I could argue either point. We'll just move on to the next one, and I'll continue with my thoughts and other people's thoughts. So Xbox Live's Lord Relic, or YouTube's Kyle Lilly, says, shots taken at Ouroboros. Jeez. No. I mean, my issue really wasn't with him. I don't know him. He's probably a cool guy. I have no idea who he is. My issue is more with just people in general thinking one person can dictate how you should spend your time. That's ridiculous. If someone says you should jump off a bridge, are you going to do it? Oh, well, what about if 1,000 people say it? Should you do it? No, that part of it, that's what I'm upset about, is that's ridiculous. No one should tell you how to play the game. You're the one who plunked down the $60 or whatever. Even if you got it for free, it's your freaking game, your internet, your electricity, your TV, your Xbox, or whatever. You dictate how you want to play the damn game. That's ridiculous. Somebody else trying to tell you how you should or could play it. That is what my problem was. I have no problem with him personally. I don't know him. No problem with anybody else personally with their opinions, obviously, unless they're jerks. But yeah, that's just how. I just want to point that out. I have no problem with these people. I don't like people trying to tell me what to do. Damn it. All right. Anyways, Kyle Lilly says, well, once you get past level 250, builds stop being unique. I actually disagree with that, and I almost strongly disagree with that. I'm sorry, Kyle Lilly. I think things might actually get more unique, and the reason why they get more unique is you have more options. So if you're now 250 is pretty high to where you can probably do most things, but the issue is how many soul vessels do you need? So if I want to be like just full Havel, right, full Havel wrecked, all Havel, shield, dragon tooth, I mean, how viable is that at level 250? I'm not sure. I haven't done that myself. I don't know, but it seems like your character might be extremely weak. I could be wrong, because you need really high ability to obviously to wear all that gear and use all that gear. So I don't know. I haven't tested it out myself. I can't say for sure, but it seems like it's not the best. That's why I don't understand that statement. Things get more unique later on because you're able to do more. You're able to have that Havel Mage. You can't have a Havel Mage at 250. I don't care who says you can. Or at least if you can, they're gonna be terrible. Like no damage, bat rolling or something. And that strickens the variety. That's a little strange to me. I don't know. And he says our characters aren't unique, Dante, so we make them unique. Okay. I never said my characters are unique. In fact, I don't even try to be unique with my characters. I just try to use weapons and armors just because. I switch it up all the time, constantly. That's just the way I'd like to play. That's my character. That's all I do. I'm not saying it's unique. I'm not saying how I play. I actually think my play style is a little bit unique because I don't see many people play like me. That could just be me. You know, it's funny because a lot of people actually watch the videos. They watch me play and they're like, wow, this guy's terrible. I would parry this guy, blah, 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 do all this stuff. And then, you know, I play against people like Kyle Lilly or even Master RPG Gamer, and they're like, wow, you're a lot better than I thought. You know, I beat these people who are, I guess, technically better skilled than me or have better skills than me. So why does that happen? It's just my weird playstyle or something. I don't know. I mean, you could watch it and analyze it all you want. I don't know. I do win a lot, and it's not for level's sake most of the time. And if it is, then I actually don't feel good about those victories that I know the other person is so lower leveled. Usually I don't do as much damage as my opponent, usually, unless of course I have a huge weapon. Then I should, unless of course obviously the Chaos Rapier or Chaos Blade buffed, because that's ridiculous. But anyways, he says we're not dex builds, we're not strength builds, but we are everything. That is true. Now that is part, as far as, I mean, he's a higher level than me. I'm actually, I can't do spells with this character. Like not many spells. I can do like one healing spell. So like my character is lower level. I'm in a sort of in between the low meta and max. So I actually do have some drawbacks with my character. Like there's just certain things I can't do. He goes on, it's fun to take the theme of certain style. That's true, obviously, with armors and weapons. That's why weapon at your soul level seem useless are actually useful to a certain build. Now, here's an interesting fact about that is, you know, it's something that doesn't really affect me as much, is the, you know, weapons being viable early on rather than later. So, you know, there are some weapons in similar classes where I'm like, why would anybody use this? In a lower level, it might take less dex or strength to use, which makes sense. I mean, but the issue I have with that is that's like extreme low level. That's like, you know, sub 100 where that really affects you. So that's why I don't really like that argument, I guess, because it only really affects super low levels, I guess you would say. Although some people might argue that, no, that's not that low. You should fight at level 53. You know, I don't know. Whatever. You can fight wherever you want. Maybe raw, maybe infused, such and such. I've seen people do 150 and 200. I got one at both of those levels, but mainly why there was a cap is because of PC. Oro and many other streamers are PC gamers. You can just reset your character at any time on PC back to a certain soul memory. The Gape Ring allows us to do that on console, but didn't come out until recently. How were we console players going to have a meta if the game wouldn't let us? That's why we were condensed into this cancer known as max level, because we weren't given the opportunity to decide until recently. I mean, he does bring up an interesting point about the PC game. You know, with PCs, you can basically do anything you want. I'm sure there's a lot of people who mod it to where they can just shoot fireballs all over the place, never have stamina, you know, all this stuff. That's also a drawback. You rarely get those on console. If you do, they are quelled pretty quickly. But I don't think the Gape Ring is such, because there's so many people who play this game multiple times, make multiple characters. I'm actually a person who doesn't really make multiple characters. I do have 3 characters. Actually, I have 4 characters. One is pretty low. One's at level 80, and I've done PvP. My guy's not like upgraded or buffed or anything, like really. And it's tough. It's tough in the arena only because my guy is so low and not upgraded. It's tough to really do anything, especially with how the matchmaking is going against people way higher level. And you know what's funny? I still win. I actually have a lot of experience with lower level PvP. Not as much with the 80 level character, but I have a 150 and a 260 something mage character. The 150, what my issue with the lower level is, well, I'll get to it later, but it's basically less variety for me, the player. Anyways, let's just continue. I've been stuck on this for a while. You know, it's PC is awesome. The master race, as they call it, you can do anything. Let's just go to the next one. Amir Alam will actually get back to one of his great posts way later on, but he says, whoa, I had no idea that people take high level characters into low soul memory PvP. That's so effed up, haha. Also, I lolled at the shots fired at Oro. I was thinking the same thing. All right, I mean, misunderstanding. It's fine. I don't. It is a tragedy and a travesty that there are people out there, and I know they are, just like with a lot of gankers who think 3-on-1 they win, and they're like, wow, we're the best players. It is a tragedy that there are people who are super high level who do super damage, and especially people with Chaos Blade who only trade. I mean, obviously, if you're a better player, you shouldn't even be in trading situations, but sometimes you can't get out of it. But who only trade, and they think they're really good just because of how much of a higher level they are. They're like, oh, this guy only took 2 hits, but I'm the best. Like, well, no, you know, I'm sorry, that's not how that works. You know, sometimes level does matter. Sometimes. Go to the next one. Elwood P. Dowd on YouTube, as he says, I would say around 200. If you get too high, every fight feels eerily the same. My main PvP tune, I love that he calls them tunes, by the way, is 207 something. I just level him when I get subs, so I will just keep leveling him most likely. But I also have a tune at 347 and can do pretty much anything, 50 or near 50 in every slot, and everyone's in Havels or using Dark Chaos. The 150 soul cap is pointless, really any is. It's all about the soul memory, there is no cap, just what soul memory tier you're in. But staying at 150 would be stupid and pointless, I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't know if I agree if it's stupid or pointless. One thing that is interesting about this, and a lot of people say this, and it's been said many times, like, oh, if you get in high level, all you see is Havel mages. I've done hundreds of hours, and it's literally documented on YouTube, and my character's a higher level. Now, I think when I started the videos, I was in the 200 range, or maybe 150 to 200. Like, I can't remember exactly what level I was. Now I'm much higher, but I spend most of my time really in that lower, like 150 to 300 range. And even through getting higher and higher and going through high, like my soul memories, it's like 40 million or something, because I don't use the gape ring, and I don't care, whatever. You don't see Havel mages. Like, you rarely see them. If you look through all my videos, all my fights, maybe you get one every 2 videos or something. Like, that's not many. And usually Havel mages are terrible. They're bad players because they think they can poise through the world and just shoot you with magic forever. It's rare to see. The players I'm afraid of usually are the ones that wear nothing. They literally wear nothing and they buff their weapon. I'm like, wow, I'm going to get hit hard and it's going to be bad. That's the players I worry about. I don't worry about Havel mages. They're usually bad. They're usually scarce. I don't know where people are getting this information where they're just everywhere. At least on Xbox 360 where I play, they just aren't there. I don't know what the hell the deal is. So let's just move on to that, because that's ridiculous. Chris Tobin says, I personally stick to 200. Don't know why, just always have. That's cool. That's your prerogative. You can do what you want, Chris Tobin, and I accept it and appreciate it. Thank you for commenting. Black and Bauer says 200, in my opinion. IMO, if you didn't know, that's what that meant. Alfie987 says, in my opinion, if you stay on New Game, then 150 is fine. But if you go on to New Game Plus and beyond, then you're going to be going against people 700 levels higher, not to mention significantly harder enemies and bosses. Because of that, I feel everyone on New Game Plus should be at least level 200 if they want to have a chance against max level Havel monsters. This is an interesting point. Now, I actually hadn't thought about this. So, Alfie, you bring up a very interesting point about just New Game and New Game Plus. And I'm more inclined to agree with this. If you're New Game Plus and you're complaining that, well, why isn't this guy level 150? He's a scrub being... I mean, come on. I mean, how many people can beat the game, you know, once and twice and still be, you know, under level 50? I'm sure tons of people can, because people are really skilled. I'm not the best at the actual game itself, but, you know, I mean, you have to imagine people are higher than 150 level on New Game Plus. I sort of agree with him on that. It's a little, you know, if you're complaining about that on New Game Plus, come on, man. That's settle down, all right? Settle down. But you know, it's something to be said. You know, if your soul memory is like, it's like 800,000, and you're going against max level, you can't complain about the max level. It's not their fault they got matched up with you. The game's matchmaking fault. It's ridiculous, and that's a main issue. We'll go back to Nathorn on YouTube. He says, for me, 150 level builds seem like one mistake and you're dead, especially against those you know, Rob +2, Flynn's, etc. This is also an interesting point that I want to bring up a little bit more, is the fact that they're sort of like, I guess, you know, I haven't really looked into it, but there's probably like what, three or four main builds for lower level characters. So it's like, this is the best if you want to use this. This is the best if you want to be a mage. This is the best if you want to be a tank. And that's it. Like, if you want to be super competitive, those are the 3 builds you pick, and then you're done. There's no, like, if you choose something else, then you're hindering yourself. You're hindering, you know, how much damage you can take or dish out. That I don't like about lower level. I'll say that. He then goes on to say, maybe add Leo Ring and Ice Rapier and Sacred Oath and the Sorcery Plus Ring, no salt intended. Yeah, so there's certain people who will max out their abilities to crush people. Ice Rapier, Leo Ring, obviously, stuff like that. And I feel like that's a little bit more of an issue on lower level. Seems like higher level, people just like to try different things, new things, and don't just do that max, like, oh, I want to use Leo with this, blah, blah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll go a little bit further. Let's go. I've always been a HC grinder. I'm actually not sure what that means. So I like max stats to be higher than 99 each. Level doesn't matter too much after level 300 anyways, and I'd have the satisfaction longer for leveling up against past 838. I actually agree with this statement that you should. There's 2 things. Okay. I remember in Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls, at least for me, leveling up was so hard to do. It was so tedious. It was so difficult. I sucked at PvP, so I can't really say as far as Souls in that manner, but it was so hard. It was so tedious. Getting higher level, and that's how, honestly, Dark Souls 2 should have been. Dark Souls 2 should really almost go up exponentially, and it should never stop. There should be a guy out there who his strength is 1,000, right? His strength is 1,000. Everything else sucks. He gets hit once or twice, he's dead. He hits you once or twice, you're dead. You know, I love that sort of, give and take of the high and the low. And that's what I like about soul level, or low soul level, is there's more of that, oh, I want to put it in this, but I can't put it in this. That's what I like about it, but obviously there's some things I don't like about it. Let's go on to the next one, though. Okay, here we go. Mike Tyson says, 150 to 250, any higher, and you're a scrub. Incorrectly spelled, but that's the Mike Tyson way. I'm not messing with Mike Tyson because he's crazy. I've seen him at Comic-Con. He really is crazy, like in real life. he's a crazy guy. I'm not messing with him. And then 1,000 minus 7, or 993, I don't know what the hell. If you're not 150, you're a scrub. Hashtag fact, high level PvP is disgusting. And then I just want to go to the next one. Jacob Kaskowski says, it's my opinion because you have high soul memory, so people with low level are just high level scrubs who want to complain. I sort of like that sentiment. I just want to go back and, I'm sorry if you're going to feel bad about this and get all butthurt about what I'm about to say to you, Mike Tyson and 1,000 minus 7. You're straight up wrong. Yes, you are wrong. You can play it, like I said, it's an opinion. You can play it whatever the hell level you want. So saying hashtag fact, no, hashtag fiction. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. Oh, 150, why? Because you read it on the internet? There's no way you thought, oh, I think 150, I'm just going to stop at it. Yeah, you went on the internet. You're like, I wonder what other people are playing. Oh, 150? Oh, if you don't play that, you're a scrub. No, just look at yourself and your ignorance with this claim. Blah, 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 you're a scrub. That's ridiculous. It's like someone saying 838, you can't be can't be skilled at a high level. That's, I mean, I'm trying to be politically correct, but that's retarded. I'm sorry. That's mentally disabling. All right, maybe I'm going too far there, but no, it's ridiculous. You know, it's like saying, oh, well, somebody's in the NBA, he's 7 foot, so he can't, you know, he's not a good player because he can just dunk with these. So it's like, well, guess what? Dirk Nowitzki, you know, if you know anything about basketball, he's like one of the best shooters ever, and he's like 7 foot. He barely dunks. So that, you know, it's ridiculous claim to just say, oh, blanket scrub statement. No, I mean, if you look at all my videos, the early videos, I was bad. I was an R1 spammer. I sucked. It was terrible. Then I got much better over the time. And if you want to say to me, to all my videos, especially my later ones, that I have no skill in this game, I don't understand. Because like I said, I've played level 150 and I've played, you know, level 263 or whatever the hell I was, and level 80, which was, it was tough because that character is really bad. I have nothing upgraded. I played them and I have won just about, probably even more percent, because I'm using better weapons, but more percent than, you know, my higher level character. But anyways, with that garbage statement, let's go on to XOZ Force on FextraLife. He just says 838. Okay. And then another one that sort of agrees with it. If you want to fully enjoy a complete PvP experience, max level is the way to go, especially in Dark Souls 2. As a level 150 build, quality build, I'm easily outdamaged by any build that uses Faith or Magic and infused weapons. At level 150, builds are not on an equal playing level most of the time. Also, fights at max level last longer, can't get 3-shotted by buff weapons. The main problem, though, is being matched with far lower level people. There's parts I agree with this, and parts I sort of disagree. Now, it's weird. It's like what a lot of people had problems with this question in general in the beginning. And it's, you know, saying to complete PvP experience, it's true to a degree. Now, here's a reason why it is true. It's true because you can run the full gamut of everything. You can have that Havel Mage. You're telling me that guy, full Havel, full, you know, just, you know, throwing anything at you magic-wise, Crystal Soul Spear and whatever, that's more than you'd ever get in 150. You'll never get in a Havel Mage in 150. So in that sense, it is more complete. However, the sort of drawbacks is what is a good thing in a sense. It's a really tricky question. It really is. You know, I'm trying to filter it out the best I can in my brain, in my logic. He says he's easily outdamaged by a lot of Faith and Magic. Yeah, that's, you know, that's the thing you got to worry about. You know, that goes to yourself and your play. You know, you see someone who's doing that. It's the same with a Chaos Blade. If you see someone with a Chaos Blade, you can't trade with them usually. You just can't do it. So you just have to alter your play versus what they have. And the only thing that sort of messes that up is that ring of invisibility. That ring is a little OP sometimes, because especially like in any level, really, even low level, if you have that ring and the player doesn't know what you have, and they're like, oh, I think it's a blah blah blah, and you're trying to be cautious, but then they get you with some sort of trick, and already that's a third of your life. Even in high level, depending if they buff it or not, you're like, whoa, what the hell? And that really brings you down, but that's a whole nother topic. He does say that also fights at max level last longer. Now, this is, I'm guessing this is usually true. However, if you've ever watched really good players, you know, quote unquote, if you watch really good players at low level, those matches actually last a lot longer than you might think. But I would say I'd probably give the edge to the higher level, only because you are able to usually take more hits. I'll go through it a little bit later, what I think about that. Anyways, we are getting to some very interesting answers. These are the answers that I really like, I really appreciate. And Stealth Rider on YouTube, he says, and just real quick, I just want to say, give a shout out to Stealth Rider. He really been trying to help me out getting the name out of me or Better TV or whatever on Reddit. I don't really know how Reddit works, or don't really go on Reddit, so I really appreciate it. Just want to give you that shout out here. But Stealth Rider says in a very concise answer, and I really like it: the primary reason a meta level was discussed and agreed upon is arena matchmaking. Since the arena, unlike all other areas of the game, tries to match with someone around your soul level, having a mass of people clumped around the same level ensures a large variety of people to fight. And that's definitely true. So I guess he is confirming that it is soul level for Brotherhood of Blood. That's cool. For some reason that doesn't seem to work out for me though. I don't know why. Soul level 150 has several advantages that make it an ideal choice, though Soul level 200 has become the secondary meta for the reasons I'll discuss later on. 1. At 150, you can't spec into everything. You're either a dex build, a strength build, a low health quality build, or a spellcaster build with maybe some dips in between if you sacrifice in other areas. Unlikely to find people climaxing you while holding a greatsword and in full Havels. 2. 150 is easy to get to on new characters and easy for even newer players to get to if they want to stay in the 3 to 5 million soul memory tier where most PvP and late game co-op happens. 3. 150 is also around the level where you start to experience the soft caps on stats. Higher levels have much less of an effect after this time. The difference in terms of attack range, I think, health, stamina, and resistance between the soul level 150 and soul level 200 is not particularly significant, assuming standard builds that soft cap that they're primarily stats, health, etc. It also has several disadvantages though, which is why the soul level 200 meta came to be. Now this is what I like about these next two people is they give the pros and cons. I love the pros and cons. I love weighing the options. Yes, good and bad. I love it. It's great. So anyways, he says A. He switches it from 1 to A. I love it. Anyways, he goes A. Since builds are so specialized, you need new characters or a lot of soul vessels and friends to upgrade your gear if you want to try out other weapons and playstyles. That's definitely true. And I would say that actually hinders PvP. And it also makes people never switch off. So it's like, oh, do I want to go through I don't know how long it would take somebody to get there, but maybe like 12 hours to get to soul level 150 and upgrade your stuff, unless you're like the best at the game. But you know, I think it hinders the PvP because then people are like, well, I'm just gonna stick with this guy and I'm just only gonna use what I'm good with, and then it's just one and done. I think that it's a lot bigger of a factor than some people might think. He says B. Despite the specialization, there's clear winner in terms of power at 150. Rob Flynn's katanas and most ring of blades, Flynn's ring weapons in general with rapiers, a close second behind katana. Every other fight is a katana. Sometimes they show up more often than that even. I love this answer because it illustrates perfectly against someone who says there's less variety in higher level PvP, because to me that makes no sense. Like I literally can prove that's, well, I can at least prove that high level PvP isn't the same, because I rarely see the same. Now, of course, there are weapons that people just don't use, but I think that's in any level. So let's go with C. You pretty much need to be agaped. It sounds like a sexual term. You need to be agaped. All right, whatever. Jokes aside, if you want to do any PvP as 150, the higher soul memory tier you go, the worse off you'll be in PvP, as people will out-level you. And while the difference between 150 and 200 may not be huge, the difference between 150 and 500 is massive. That is true. 150 to 200 skill should generally take over, unless you're a trading person and you somehow know that they're lower level. But rarely in that. I mean, I would say 150 to 250, that does matter. But it's weird because it's like once you hit 200, then it's like 350 is sort of there. And then once you hit 250, then it's like 500. And like it's weird how it goes up much higher every time you go higher, because the soft caps and how much leveling really doesn't matter at a certain point. 200 is, in my opinion, a much better level to play at. You have a lot more room to play with stats. You can still stay in the 3 to 5 million soul memory range, and 5 to 7 million isn't bad either. You can actually wear heavier armor and worry less about Rob Flynn builds, and you don't see half as many katanas. Still a lot though, and there's more than enough arena action. That's one thing that higher level really loses out on is the arena action, or really just PvP action. Sometimes I'm waiting like minutes. Unacceptable. I'm waiting minutes for both Brotherhood of Blood or the Bridge. Bridge is usually popping, but it's a lot of gankers. It sucks. But yeah, you know, it's the lower level really wins big time on just having more people play it, and it's crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, I think he brings a lot of great points. But let's go to somebody else who also brings some great points, and let's see what he says. Like I said before, he stated something, but now he's back. Amir Alam. I have two characters. One character is at 190 and the other is at 150. My soul memory is getting pretty high on my 190 character, and I can say that there is either a significant skill gap between my soul memory bracket, or there are way more tryhards in my lower level characters soul memory range. Lol. Or I'm just bad with my low level characters setup because I've been with this one for less time than the higher level character. Either way, here are a few arguments for the soul level 150 standard. All right, so now he's speaking specifically for the 150. What I find interesting is 150 to 190. For some reason, he's much worse, he says, with the 150, even though I don't see that as the biggest jump in level. So that's interesting, I think. All right, so anyways, he goes with the pros. When most people finish new game, they're usually around the 1 to 3 million soul memory range. You'll start to see higher level characters around 2 to 3 million, but for people who just want to finish the game and all the equipment, with all the equipment and begin PvP with the equipment necessary for their build, they're going to be level 130 to 170 generally. I think I can agree with that. First playthrough, you're probably in that range. I could see that. Obviously, better players are better at the PvE game can do it. I think, you know, the world record, they do it at level 70 for speed. Was it like hour and 15 or so? I forgot what the hell it is. Either way, that's all bosses. Either way. That's why I forgot where I am. Generally, this is just anecdotal evidence from my experience with people on Reddit and my own two characters on a DS2. Well, that's what it is. Most of the stuff is anecdotal. Everybody has their own opinions, so I mean, obviously none of this is fact. It's not like, oh my god, high level, that's where you should play. No, that's, I don't know. I don't think there is one. Anyways, get on that a little bit later. Spreading the word among the community about this standard gets everyone who's interested in competitive play in one place. Yes, soul level and soul memory aren't the same thing, but I feel as if they're loosely related, as my soul level 190 character doesn't run into as many tryhards in her current soul memory bracket. That's an interesting pro about the 150. But I guess the con about that is, well, what if Ouroboros, what if you said 500 and everybody's like, okay, I could see, and everybody was 500? Would you be saying the same thing? So I don't know about that. That's a little flimsy in my opinion. P.S. When my soul level character 150 was soul level 120, I was going up against characters that were clearly higher level than me, and I still spanked them pretty nicely. However, this is less common in the lower soul memory brackets, and that's a good thing. In the beginning of the game, level gaps in PvP is not bueno, in my opinion. It just rubs me the wrong way. I haven't had long enough to settle into my character before taking soul level 200 players when I finally just settled into my build. Alright, now let's look at the cons. Cons, he says, high soul level is more fun and empowering. Wait a second. Isn't that a pro? No, that's a pro for high level. Okay. Builds at soul level 150 can be pretty boring after a while. It gets easy to predict what people are going for in their build, and it gets easier to exploit them. Also, people are such tryhards at that soul memory, so that just stagnates things even more. I have an issue with this term tryhard because everybody's trying to win, I would assume. I mean, who's out there just playing like, I don't care, and they just lose? Like, what? Like, oh, I won, who cares? I don't care. No, everybody's trying to win. I mean, some people may be trying harder than others, like, you know, really into it. They have the screen like inside their eyeballs, right? Okay, sure, but come on. Everybody either is a tryhard or isn't. Somebody's trying to win. I don't know. I do have some reservations about the tryhard bit, because I've been called a tryhard, and I'm like, I basically play the same. Maybe if I see some better players that I know are a little bit better, I might, like, you know, pay more attention slightly, but it's ridiculous, I think. Anyways, he says soul level 150 punishes you for hitting the soft caps for all of the stats that soft caps your HP and endurance. If that makes sense, it's getting pretty late. The vigor, vitality, and endurance, possibly adaptability, the only leaves 30 points to pump into the rest of your build. That's not even enough for a quality build. He says, then, in conclusion, the problem with the soul level 150 debate is the fact that From, which is the developer, decided to make adaptability and vitality a thing, and the community is still trying to make sense of it. I support it because I think it's competitive. People need a standard, and I think that this level of sacrifice is good because you can hit the soft cap for anything at this soul level. You just have to choose which. Still though, I'll play my high soul level character. I love how he says high soul level character, the 190. When I want to chill and play with my fun weapons, Scythe of Want and Majestic Greatsword are a blast. Use in tandem. I love that combo. I haven't used it myself, but I really appreciate it. I love seeing interesting combos. Especially when you throw a little bit of longsword in there to spice things up a bit. At the end of the day, it's just a game. Play what makes you happy, and you can't go wrong. Just as you said, there are millions of people who play the game. There are definitely people who play at high soul memory, so you'll fit right in if that's your thing. Also, blank, can't say it. You don't need 99 endurance to be aggressive, haha. It's called stamina management. If you don't want to think about that, wear less armor. You want to poise through everything and then roll like a ninja for days. Low equip load gives you hella stam regen. I commented on this. My character that I am now, that I do most PvPs, he is now at level 99 endurance. It's just something I like. I don't need level 99 endurance. I just really like it because it makes me, or it allows me to wear decent armor and be hyper aggressive. I like being very aggressive, usually very aggressive with my character. A lot of times that does depend on the weapon, but I like being super aggressive, sticking on my opponents. So yeah, I said that before. I don't need it. I played without Chloranthy Ring and with, you know, almost about 70% encumbrance, and I've done fine. You just have to manage it well. You have to know who your character is, who they are. It's a lot of mind games, and a lot of people don't realize that. But we'll get to last but not least, the last comment. I know this is a long one because this is a large topic. Now, I have a lot to say. I even have a lot more to say. This damn thing's been going on for almost 50 minutes. Anyways, last but not least, Skunk Guy says, I think it should be whatever people want. And I really think this is the best answer, which is funny because he even spells want incorrectly. But it's the best answer. What can I say? You, like I said earlier, you bought the game. It's your game. You own it. Even if your parents bought it, it's still your game. Even if you rented it, even if you're near that one Blockbuster that somehow still exists, it's your game. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. If you get bad messages, guess what? Complain that they aren't high level with you. You know, complain that they're not matching you. It's not your fault that they match, you know, the matchmaking went wrong. It's not your fault that they just like to complain. That's really the crux of it. I mean, that's how it is. As far as my opinion, now I do want to voice an opinion on a few things. Of course, I've sprinkled in here and there versus what people have said. It's completely ignorant. I just really want to state this again. It's completely ignorant to tell somebody else that their opinion is wrong. I really want to stress this. I know I say it like basically every video. It's ignorant, it's dumb, and it's stupid to try to tell somebody else is wrong. Oh, soul level 150, No, man, you play what the hell you want. It's not my fault. It's not their fault. People really need to either grow up or understand how the world works. You can't act like that in the real world. If you do, you will get smacked up. I don't know who the hell you think you are, but it's crazy. I mean, if you're the real Mike Tyson, people might hold their lip a little bit more because he's crazy, like I said. But yeah, you know, I play higher soul level, and I don't get as many messages as I used to for some strange reason, but I used to get some messages where it's like, what level are you? And I'd tell them, like, oh, you're much higher than me. Wow, I can't believe I'm like, So, is that my fault? I didn't do that. I didn't know you were a low level and fought you. You know, if you look at my videos, and I like to tell this because a lot of people think I don't have any skill in the game because I'm a high level, and I don't understand that. If you really, truly think that's a thing, I mean, either come to my level and I'll fight you, or I'll go to your level and fight you, because I just want to prove that, like, you know, I might not win. I'm not the best at the game, and I've never even faced the best at the game. There's no one I can definitively say, like, oh, they are the best. I've never fought the person. I doubt they exist on Xbox 360. I doubt they exist on really any format, any game, because honestly, people have different play styles. It's really interesting how this game works. I mean, I've beaten so many high-level players, you know. It's not on camera, but, you know, I've beaten Master RPG. I've beaten Kyle Lilly. I've beaten so many players who, like I said before, I would say have a higher skill level than me, as far as just in the game and, you know, button pressing and whatever. But just because of my play style, you know, there's certain people who play me who terrorize me, and then, you know, they go against them, you know, Lord Relic, and they completely obliterate him, and then vice versa. There's certain people that beat Lord Relic, and then I destroy them. It just, for some reason, there's like this weird but awesome thing about the game where people have different styles that combat other styles, and it's great. It's awesome. But to say that I don't have skill, I don't know. It's a little rough on me. I mean, I've played the damn game a lot. I would like to think I have some skill. I have played many, not as many, I'll be honest, but I have played many of level 80, my level 80 character. I don't play as much to level 80 because I can't upgrade anything. It's like really getting tough to play the game, the actual PvP or PvE game. But I've played tons on my 150 character. And what sucks about my 150 character is I basically only use one weapon, because I only have one weapon. I think I used the bandit axe on that end. I know the bandit axe is like a really good weapon, but I crush people with it. Usually I crush people. The only times I ever really lose is some mages, because of the low adaptability. Some mages can get lucky shots on you because, you know, you rolled the wrong way or didn't time it correctly, and that's on my skill level, because for some reason on some of those dark damages, like if they have the crystal and the dark, they have like different wavelengths, if you know what I'm talking about. Like one's faster and one's slower, and it's a little tough for me to gauge certain situations like that. And then usually if I get hit, it's like half my life. So that's an issue I have with the lower level, is sort of that type of one shot and you're done. But I also love that about it, where I do like the whole if you make a mistake, it's to your detriment. It's a lot more effect. It has a lot bigger effect in lower level if you make a mistake than higher level. That I will definitely say. But that also is a hindrance in low level, because it makes people play a certain way. Now, in my experience with lower level, there are, I would say, higher level, you might get maybe 10% people who are really in the wait and see tribe. About 10%, like people, you know, they want to win, and they really will not ever do anything until you do something. And I can't stand those players. You get about 10% in higher level. In lower level 150, it's probably like closer, at least in my experience, anecdotally, of course, probably like 70%. And no one does anything ever until you do something. It's so annoying. And it's annoying because then I have to play that way, because every mistake basically costs you the game. So I have to play the like, oh, back up, or I swing once, run away so I can get my stamina back. It's really annoying, and I actually think it takes away from the overall game's mechanics, because it makes you run away and not fight more than go forward and fight. Maybe that's just me. Obviously, it's an opinion. I don't know. But to me, fighting isn't about running away. Fighting is about swinging. Or, you know, I understand reaction and having to have a reaction, but if you never, ever attack ever first, I don't see the fun in that. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can play like that. And that's a lot of people in lower level, because, like I said, one mess up really messes you up. Like I said earlier, I have a level like 263 mage. I suck. I suck with the 263 only because and I'm saying strictly mage. I like no weapon, just mage. Is very difficult because I don't know why I do that to myself. I just like to stick with one thing. I don't switch it up. You know, like with the PvP videos I make, I don't like I stay with that one weapon. That's it. Almost exclusively. Rarely will I ever pull out a bow or I think that's basically about it. In some of the earlier videos, I did pull out, I think when I had bigger weapons, I did pull out like an S-stock or something, but then I stopped that way later when I got better. But you get a lot less wait and see players in the level 160 or 260 or 250 range, which is obviously better for me, even though my mage character sucks. I probably played the least, well, pretty close least with that and the level 80 build, but I played a ton of 150 even before this whole hubbub, because I knew that was sort of a thing that people wanted, and you know, people wanted to play in that range. So I played it at, you know, long time ago, and I occasionally put it on here and there just to test it out, just to see what people are up to, and the variety is so low. It's the same like 3 people over and over. It's the mage with the lion mage garb, or it's the guy with the bandit axe, or the ice rapier, like it's or the katana. Like it's basically the same few types of stuff, and it's always like the same armors, and it's so boring. The same stuff over and over. When I play in the high level, I love it because you don't know who you're gonna fight against. It's like, oh, Havel Mage. I think Havel Mage is awesome, personally. I love the fact that, oh, this guy can whip my ass with the greatsword, but also, boom, climax me. That makes you really weary of anything you do, and like hyper active in that sense, where you need to be aware and afraid of anything, because anything can happen. I love that. In lower level, you're like, oh, this guy's a mage, so they can't take many hits, and they can only do a certain few things. That's boring. Like, then you play the same way every time. You sort of, oh man, it just higher level. I mean, I personally think higher level is more exciting and more interesting. I could be wrong. I don't know. But based on my videos, the variety of people and players is crazy. I mean, you get people using Murakumos. Do you ever see that in lower level? I personally like never see it. And I love that. Or just, you never see anybody use big weapons in lower levels ever, because they're just not really viable. It's way too risk versus reward, and everybody else is using quicker weapons, so why would you ever use that? You will lose, because if you have a bigger weapon and you fight a wait and see player and they have a quicker weapon, 99% of the time you're gonna lose. I don't care who you are, and I'm talking about strictly wait and see tribe people. You will lose. That's just how it is. Your weapon is slow, unless you poise through something, but they have to know what you're wearing or what you're doing. You'll poise. If you have the Ivory King Ultra Wind Axe or Wind Sword, obviously they know every time you swing, you can't trade because you will get hit twice. It's just, you know, certain things from experience you got to understand, and you have to know the game. A lot of people complain, oh, you want to use it? It's like, you know they were using that, so you can't complain about it. I only complain when I don't know. Well, it's fine if you don't know something, but I only complain if I don't know someone is going to run and heal, and they run and heal. I can't, you know, it's impossible to be prepared for everything. And partly why I do love the game, because it's unpredictable. But if you're there and you use I forgot what the spell is that heals you every, you know, a little bit over time, and you use that in the beginning, I know what I'm up against. I know, okay, this is the character. If you run away and you're scummy, just, you know, waiting to get all your health back, that's a little messed up. I mean, you're there to fight, right? You can run away and just heal and keep doing that over and over and over. Especially with lower level, it's very hard to combat that, which really sucks. Because let's say, oh, my character is a Rob Flynn build or whatever, so I use this longsword. Well, chances are you don't have climax or anything to really punish somebody long range. So someone's probably going to run and heal on you. That's garbage. At least with higher level, you might have a chance of having that. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can go with on this. It's a very interesting topic. I do prefer higher level play. Like I said before, all the reasons before, it just, I don't know, there's just more variety in my opinion, because you can basically do anything. I mean, every video I have a different weapon, usually have a different armor. That's awesome. I mean, armor, like, in higher level is almost just for aesthetics. I mean, after a certain point, it doesn't matter what you wear. However, it does. I mean, it still does. If you're wearing Havels, you are going to take less damage than if you're wearing nothing against a dagger. That's just the truth. And I've faced many a Havels with a dagger. I've won some, I've lost some. It's tough. Some daggers are pretty tough to deal with, but it's just how it goes. And like I said, Skunk Guy said it best, man. Play whatever the hell you want. I think that's really the consensus. Well, it isn't the consensus, but I think that's the real answer. You play what you want. It's not your fault if the matchmaking is weird or dumb. I understand that people want to have a lot more people playing at similar levels. I get that. And I understand the 150 or 200 logic, because it allows for the min-maxing and allows for you to be punished versus, having everything maxed out. But I also think it would be a lot cooler, or an easier fix with that would be to make leveling up extremely difficult, and there not to be a cap on leveling up, because then the min-maxing thing would be a lot more intense and make much more sense. Now with my character, my guy barely has any attunement, barely has adaptability, faith, or intelligence. So I'm missing like tons of stuff there, and I think my vitality is pretty low. So, I'm still missing like tons of stuff. Like I don't know if max level is necessarily the best way to go, only because there is no drawbacks, and that is my real issue with max level, is there's no true drawbacks. You're gonna be able to take less damage than someone who's even one level under you, even if it's like 2 points. It's just how it works. So that's why having even a cap max level is a little messed up, because it does allow for no drawbacks. But then at the same time, it makes you a different type of player, and a player who is able to be in a battle, be in a war, stay there for a while. Because how many times have, and I really want to know this, and put it in the comments below, how many times have you played a lower level character, and I understand the one mistake, but sometimes, and it happens a lot because the connection's not perfect, sometimes there's just certain freak things where it's like, what? I rolled out of it. That was crazy. Or sometimes you got backstabbed. How many times has that happened to you? And it's like, oh, I can't win this now. Or now I have to play super scared and like such a bitch in order to try to win. And it just sort of ruins the match for you. That rarely happens in high level. I mean, sometimes you might get climax, luckily, or something. And then obviously you're in pretty bad shape. But you can usually take a backstab. Backstabs with huge weapons can do about half your life. And half your life you can come back and win. That's what I like about it with most weapons. So I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think there's more arguments for a higher level PvP than lower level. I think people argue the lower level because of maybe popular streamers, or maybe because that's what a lot of people do. And it's interesting, because it's like, I don't want to go against this person because of what they said, and everybody else is doing it, so I should do it. But maybe you're not seeing the true light of it, the true, reasons behind certain things. I don't know. I don't think there is a real answer which one's better. I think it's just whatever people prefer. I mean, obviously I might be a slightly biased, because most of mine is probably post 300 level, most of my videos. So I might be a little bit biased towards the higher level, but I don't know. It's one of those things. It's just one of those very interesting topics that I hope you enjoy my answers. Hope you enjoy this video. I might even do a reactionary, depending on, what type of comments I get, a reactionary post video of this. We'll see. I don't know. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. I might lose some subscribers here. I don't know. It sucks, because every subscriber I lose really hurts, because I have like 2. But yeah, I don't know. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. I really want to know what you think. And don't be a dick. If you're a dick, I'm going to be a dick back. That's just straight up how it is. I defend myself. I defend my people. That's it.